I think that's a big key too with experiences in law of attraction is really no expectations. Like Joe really had no expectations, but in a relationship when you're going on a date, people get expectations. This could be the one, this could be this. So when it doesn't work out, they're grieving the loss of everything they expected that relationship to be.
Right.
So you're right. I think with the big things with money and love, like finding true love, I think those are the big things that people put expectations on.
They have a lot
and
of
it's
resistance.
a constant cycle. I mean, I think those are the two biggest things is finding true love and money, like being financially free and secure. I think it's the expectations of this is the way it has to come in. This is what I have to do for it. And again, I think all the fear goes into what if, how, when. So they stay in these jobs for like fear love, right?
I think somewhere I read this, I read somewhere, and I don't know if it was part of Abraham and Hicks and stuff, is let the universe do the heavy lifting.
Yeah.
You know, you set your expectation, which is a goal, and don't put too many perimeters on it, or, you know, and just let it play out. Do the work and let it play out. Instead of micromanaging it.
That's one of their exercises. We might have even mentioned on here where the Abraham Hicks stuff, where they say things for me to do today, and you write down, 3 or 4 things that you have to do today. And then the other side, it's like things for the universe to take care of.
Right.
And you put everything else there, and you'd be surprised at how many of the other stuff just gets filled in by your being focused and not trying to control everything.
Right. I think Jack Canfield says that too. The author of Chicken Soup for the Soul series, who's a great guy, a really great guy. Very right from the heart. You know, teaches a lot of the important things.
Well, it's funny. I did a 90-day challenge back in October, and one of the things that we had to do is write down like 10 big goals. And it's so funny because I'm just starting new projects and things are kind of falling into place. And I thought about that list and I'm thinking there are at least 3 things on that list that I'm well on my way to. And it's funny because I'd completely forgotten about it. It was something she said, make it so ridiculously big that like you just forget about it. Like, because again, if it's like, oh, I want to manifest $1,000, I want to manifest $2,000. It's so close to you that you can, and then you think about it. She said, make it so big that you forget about it. She goes, and then just kind of release it. And so that was like October, let's say, or early November when that happened. And now here we are at the end of August or mid-August. And I'm thinking about that list and I'm like, oh my God, there's so many things that have happened up until that point to get me on my way. And that's that part of like, just no expectations, like write it down. Like, yeah, that would be great. And this would be the space, but it's a micromanaging part and micromanaging the universe. How, when, what if, and I think if we just kind of come back to the present and just live and be in the space that you're in right now, I think it opens up so much space for so much more.
Those things where you have like a 90-day challenge, whatever. And when I do stuff like that, like I have the expectations it's going to be 90 consecutive days. Once I take that away, it's like, well, now I can complete it because, I do one day here. Next year, I'll do another day. Before you know it, you can get it done. That's kind of a joke, but it's also serious in the sense where it's like, you think like, I have to do, it's like, oh, I missed a day. Well, I give up. I'm done.
No, my cousin and I, and actually that challenge brought my cousin and I back together. Because we haven't really talked in like 10 years, maybe. Like we just maybe here and there over months. And since that challenge, she's like, hey, what do you think about this? Download this app and blah, blah, blah. She goes, let's do it. We've talked every single day, at least 4 or 5 times a day since then. And I'm thinking, we kind of laughed about the 90-day challenge. Like, are you drinking your water today? Are you getting your gratitudes in? I mean, there were simple things that just basically it was just keep a habit that will be self-preservation for yourself. And we kind of just laughed. But I was like, you know what? That's what that was. That was better than that challenge could have ever done for us. And that's where we kind of went into it. We're like, hey, let's do it together. We'll keep each other accountable. And that came and went. We didn't even think about the 90-day challenge coming and going because we were just in the space. And I'm thinking, God used that. Obviously, we're a vibrational match. And I have to say, like, I could make you say every single day we've talked. It's rare that we don't go days. But when our kids got out of school, she obviously, had kids now. And I felt like I lost my best friend. I'm like, where are you? But I think it's just so funny how, like, we sign up to do things or we have these experiences, and so much more comes from it when you're flexible.
Yes.
You're open.
I was just thinking, like when I was drawing and painting and stuff, I would start out, well, I want to do this, and I'm going to paint this like this particular way. And I was very micromanaging it and very detail orientated. And a lot of times I would just totally go off the reservation, and the painting would turn into something totally different. And I would be lost for literally 6, 7, 8 hours. It'd be 3 o'clock in the morning. I'd finally sign it, and I'd be like, "Wow!" And it was such a joy to be part of that, and then to look at it afterwards, because it was just pure creativity and inspiration, and that's all the good stuff of the universe. That's all part of us tapping in to all that wonderful, tools and opportunity that the universe gives us, and it's because I dropped the expectations, or that stuff just overwhelmed me. Like, all right, this is not going to be a building; it's going to be some type of farm, or and at 3 o'clock in the morning, it's like 2 planets on this ice planet or something like that, because I just let it flow, let it go with it. And I think writers do that a lot of times, or musicians that write music and stuff, they just let it flow, and they might start off like, I want to do this and this, but then it takes off on its own. You know what I mean? It just became its own thing. And I think the more that we let that happen in our lives, I think we could really, I know I said it before, but I'm really starting to believe this. We could bring more joy and more growth and more acceptance and more love.
And I think also too, I think this is a great topic now with so many people transitioning. So many people are leaving jobs. There have been so many endings, even like people physically transitioning and the family dynamic changing and stuff. And I think it goes back to that space of change, and also I think it's important to say that just because you're leaving that job that you hate, or just because you're finally getting out of that relationship, that doesn't mean that's going to make you happy. I think people get this false hope that, oh my God, I left this job, I can finally be happy. And then when they realize, hey, you got to make money, you've got to do this, you've got to do that. I think people then attract, out of fear, another job that they don't like because of those experiences.
You have to change yourself before you make the outside change. Change the inside before you change the outside. So if you just change the outside, the inside's going to bring you that same experience.
You're just changing addresses.
The bad relationship that someone ends that gets into another bad relationship. They ain't changed themselves. So.
Right. You move to a different house, it's still a bad relationship.
And I think that's the why that a lot of people ask. Like, why do I keep bringing this in? Why do I keep... And it goes back to the self, like doing the inner work. But again, when I say inner work, it doesn't have to be like going in and all this pain and struggle and strife. Like, it doesn't have to be that. Like, you can go
just
out and have fun. You can just allow the universe to show up for you. Go out to that place that you've been wanting to go. Go have these experiences, and you'll see how everything else unfolds. I think people think they have to be hard on themselves, or like I said, I got to go on this diet and I've got to like do all this stuff. I got to
focus on every person that ever hurt me in the past.
I have to go up on top of a mountain and do monk-like things for the weekend to get all this stuff clear. No, you can just say, hey,
show up to the day.
Just show up and just say, I'm not going to put any expectations on it. I'm just going to be centered. I'm not going to let all the outside world bother me for a few hours, and see what happens.
And don't let yesterday's definition of yourself determine who you are today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right.
Absolutely.
Because not only are we physically changing, new cells regenerating, but we have the opportunity to change at any time who we are.
Yeah.
Which is love.
Yeah.
And we can fine tune it.
Getting to the heart of the matter.
Right.
And that's where acceptance. Because when you can accept the fact that you are changed, that every aspect of you is constantly changing. We fight so hard against that, but when you can just accept that's who you are, everything else just falls into place.
Right. If you can learn that you are the driver of your car and that you're on the road of change, then you'll enjoy it.
Yep.
But if you feel like you're being pulled along, and we all fight change because we're comfortable
or giving
where
your power away. Fix me, save me, change me, make me better.
Right, and you find this comfort zone, even though it might be an uncomfortable comfort zone. You're used to it, so you got to do this. You feel safe, even if it isn't safe.
Because that's what you know.
Because that's what you know.
Yeah.
Instead of taking the opportunity and saying, listen, I'm going to take that step into the unknown of change and let's see what happens. Life is adventure. It really is an adventure. And you might as well rock it because,
it's only when you try to break out of the box you realize that there never was a box.
Yes. Right.
It's all in your head.
Right.
So.
And the sooner you find it, the better. A lot of people find that when on their deathbeds.
Yep.
And every experience brings you closer to love or farther away from it. Mm-hmm. Every experience. You're either getting closer to it or you're getting farther away. And if you can use that gauge, whatever that feeling is, okay, this feels good. I said when I moved into 2017, I said this next 9-year cycle, I want to live my life through and learn lessons and grow spiritually through adventure, play, laughter, fun, and freedom. And that's what I declared. I want to continue moving forward through adventure, play, laughter, fun, and freedom. And I have to say, basic decisions now are based on that. Mm-hmm. And I have to say, I've been able to release or walk away from or shift things that weren't in that vibration because I made that declaration to myself. Now, obviously, everything's not playtime and you got to put work, but I have to say that deep part of me is always in that space of adventure, play, laughter, fun, and freedom. And I have to say, it took a while to I'm still in that process of finding my joy. Like, what is joy? Mm-hmm. And it's not external things. It's a feeling. And you quickly realize that the energies around you, the people, places, things, and ideas will bring you closer to it or farther away. And that's
it's a constant road.
Yeah.
There's no final destination.
No.
It is in the journey.
Yeah.
That's it. It is in the journey.
And there's always another destination.
Joy is in the journey.
Yeah. And you can't have a journey without change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So take that leap of faith. Mm-hmm. And enjoy it, and don't try to control it. Mm. That's easier said than done, but at least it's something to ponder on.
Mm-hmm. But it's only as hard as you make it in your mind.
Well, I'm saying sometimes there are people that, because of family dynamics or something like that, it makes it more difficult. Mm-hmm. But maybe that's a learning experience for them also, the people around them at some point, see how that plays out.
But it's the thing, I think the thing to remember about that is it's only more of a challenge because you've put yourself vibrationally in a place where it's more challenging for you.
Or even accepted. Okay, yeah. This is the way it is. And so I've accepted this space. So guess what? You just keep attracting the same.
Yeah. So and the only reason I want to say that is because I never want to give people an excuse to play small or to stay stuck.
Yeah.
And so that's why I don't want someone to come and say, it's easy for you to say because you're single and you don't have kids and that to take care of. And,
right.
And I say, that's a great excuse. But the reality of it is you still have the choice. Mm-hmm. You still control every action you take every day.
Yeah.
So don't let the circumstances outside, don't let the conditions affect how you love your life. Mm-hmm. Let your life be unconditional love. Mm-hmm.
And even being able to recognize the programs and the belief systems of others that have been ingrained even just from childhood, just absorbing it, not even realizing it. Yeah. I think that's that part of living consciously,
Belief's just the thought you keep thinking.
Over and over and over. Flexibility is fun.
That's right.
And you're talking to somebody who was a control freak, needed to know when things were going to happen, and it was a lot of pain that I caused myself because of that. And that's why I think it's important to share. We've all been on this journey. We don't have it all figured out, but flexibility was fun. It was something that I was trying to control every part of that experience. When is this going to happen and what time? And, they said this and it's past that and what's happening, blah, blah, blah. And I just kept hearing flexibility is fun. People would literally yell it out. Flexibility is fun. And I'm thinking, man, get that in there. And I have to say, once I released that, I had a really great time.
So remember, people, what would Fun Gladys do?
That's right. That's right. Have a little bracelet. Remember, say, what would Jesus would do? Get yourself a bracelet. What would Fun Gladys do?
Jump out of planes, walk on fire, hot coals.
Okay, maybe I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. Okay.
What would semi-Fun Gladys do?
Fun Gladys will skydive. Fun Gladys will walk on. Oh, there's this new thing where this guy does ice baths, and it's and basically you're conditioning your body so like the freezing cold, but it's just kind of like control. It's breath work. It's building up to that, and he does these ice baths. I want to do that.
Stop your heart.
There, go for it.
That's it. That's okay.
And everyone has a different definition of fun.
Yes.
So just remember that as well.
Doesn't have to be extreme.
And all the beliefs and advice heard on this show have to be taken
Take
with
at your own risk.
take your own have a medical checkup first. And,
I have to say,
and she said it.
Yeah, that's right.
every one of those experiences I literally fell into. Like, I really thought the firewalk thing, there was some trick to it. Until I was sitting there looking at the hot coals. And I have to say, so for me, it wasn't like, I wanna walk on hot coals because this person had this experience and this person, I was like, hey, I'm here, why not? Or I've always wanted to skydive, and I was like, hey, you know,
I'm on a plane, why not?
I'm in Sedona, Arizona, and this would be the most amazing place to skydive out of. And I just happened to, you know, see a place and booked a reservation. And so I was guided to those things. It wasn't like I was forcing it. And I have to say, I just kind of fell into those things.
I'm going out there next month, and I just have a feeling I'm going to find out a place to go skydiving. And I'm going to say, and I'm going to hear, fun, Gladys. Be flexible. Be flexible.
That was an amazing
experience. Jumping on a plane, huh?
That was an amazing experience. I realized that it was all in my head.
Well, the fear is only until you take the first step off the plane.
You know, when I was thinking about like,
because you got no choice.
Yeah. But that's a Will Smith thing. He was talking about how he's so afraid until he jumped off and then realized like this is the best moment of my life.
And again, if that morning I was
possibly
like,
the last, but the best.
Right, because your brain's saying, why did I take that stupid one step?
Well, my experience that morning was I was nauseous and all this stuff. You know, and I'm on my drive there, and I'm thinking, wait a minute. I'm like, these people do this day in and day out. If people were really dying, they would shut them down. And I have to say, it's probably just as safe as getting on a plane and getting in your car. And yeah, things go wrong or things go bad, but the benefits and the experience, oh my God, best. I literally was on top, above the world. Like, you could literally see in one of the pictures the arc of the planet, and I was above it. It was just amazing. If you can do it,
yeah, because you survived.
But I have to say, there was somebody else who did it because my experience was so incredible, and they did not have a good experience.
Really?
Yep.
Why? What?
I don't know. I don't know. But it was like one of those things. I came back. I'm like, this is amazing. Blah blah blah. But again, she did it in a different location. You know, so it was a different experience.
How can it be bad?
I don't know. She just said, I'd never do it again. So, again, I think this goes back to other people's joy, right? And you're
expectations.
Like, oh, but then again, there was a group of other people who did it, and they had just as great of a time. So really, I always say, check in with yourself. Yeah. If you're ready for it, do it. If everything comes in alignment, do it.
It's not about this fun Gladys. It's your inner fun Gladys. Always check in with your inner fun Gladys.
Very important.
I love
Very important.
Check in
inner guidance first.
That's right.
Holy crap. So this lady didn't have a good experience.
No. Nope.
And she didn't break anything, did she?
No, it wasn't them. It was her own personal experience. So, like, everything went according. Like, she was fine. There was no crazy things or anything like that. But again, it could have been her fear that, you know, changed things. It could have been her expectation that she was going to have so much joy like I did and she didn't. You know, it could have been so many things. Again, we were in two totally different locations. So it depends on that, you know, place that she went. There were so many factors. But I remember the reason why I became a paralegal is because a friend of mine loved her job as a paralegal. She would get to be picked up in a fancy car and go to, like, legal libraries and, like, things like that. And I was like, well, I want to do that. And then I ended up in a sweatshop. So again, I made a decision based on somebody else's joy.
Yeah, because she was having a relationship with a head lawyer. I don't know any paralegals get picked up in cars.
It was. Well, it was like kind of like a big time, a firm, you know, and they do big cases. But I have to say, I thought I was going to fall into that, and I ended up in a sweatshop with an awful experience.
But that led you here.
It did, and that's what I appreciate the most.
Because you were open to it.
Absolutely. Yeah. So it never means you're stuck. You make a decision, you realize, hey, this isn't for me. It doesn't mean you're stuck.
That's right, because when you define yourself as change, you expect to change.
Flexible.
Because flexibility is fun.
Hi, everybody. If you like what you watched, please subscribe on YouTube and like us on Facebook. And check out our website at alwaysconsiderthesource.com.
Hey, if you want us to come out to your location and do a live setup, we'd love to do that. Continue to send in your questions, and we look forward to interacting with you.
And remember, always consider the source.